Hello, sisters. Welcome to Rising Feminine Online Temple, which is a 7 days initiation for a woman to journey back to her true essence. I am Jonita D'Souza, your feminine lifestylist and the keeper of this online temple, where I have gathered visionaries from around the world to join forces to initiate you in your true, authentic being. And a big part of my work with women, as you may know, is to invite them into indulging into everyday rituals. So, in this moment, I invite you to create a safe, sacred space for yourself to receive today's offering. And in today's online temple, we will be guided by a very special guest. His name is Shiva Rajaya. And I thought that this rising feminine online temple cannot be complete without the presence of conscious masculine energy. So Shiva Rajaya is a tantrika life coach committed to help men and women rise together to their highest potential. He believes in the power of the human spirit, the resonance that kicks in with the invisible when we activate ourselves. You can see a lot more about his work at vitalcoaching.com. So Shiva, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. It's nice to be here. Secret Temple.
Yes, and I'm so excited that we finally got to arrange this call and get on the call with you because I know we've been talking about it for a few months and it got
Yes,
postponed, but I'm so glad that we could finally do it, like the divine timing.
it's perfect. It's perfect.
Perfect. Before I got onto the call, I did a quick prayer meditation and I drew a goddess card because the online temple is incomplete for me without a goddess oracle. And goddess Sedna of infinite supply just came
Mm.
up for me. And I was just meditating on our conversation, the topic that you have chosen to talk, and your presence and my presence. And this beautiful goddess showed up, and I thought that's just so apt, so relevant to whatever we'll be talking about. But I wanted to quickly ask if there is anything that you feel resonant in this moment with this goddess Sedna of infinite supply.
Yeah, infinite supply. The first thing that comes to mind is like an infinite abundance, right? It's the fact that we are connected with an infinite field of energy and resources and love, and we tend to forget that. We live very often in a world of scarcity. So when I see this card there, it just feels like the sea of possibilities,
Yeah.
the ocean of possibilities, and the whale can there swim in a space that is just unlimited. And yeah, this is what comes to mind. It's just abundance and unlimited possibilities.
Yeah, and I think your brand with vitality is also something like related to infinite supply, isn't it? Because we all have that in us.
Yes, totally. Yeah, beautiful card.
So Shiva, we would like to know, how did you get initiated in your sacred purpose? What was your journey?
Wow. Just to keep it short, I feel that we are all born with a certain destiny line, and then the memories come back into our field. So for me, my first memory was like I was in Spain and I see this book on yoga. I was 13, and then I went, okay, well, I need to have that book. It was a book from Sri Aurobindo in Spanish. I tried to read the book and didn't understand much about it. It was very complex. And after that I started doing yoga. After that I started joining different mystery schools and teachers and gurus, and launched my own coaching practice in 2002. So I've been coaching for a long time, but basically, it's like all you have to do when you connect with your destiny line is just go with the flow. Like you jump into the river of your destiny line, and then suddenly things start happening in your life. And if you allow it to flow instead of being trapped into default mode, into the traps of society and into the conditionings that we are all subject to, and then you start really opening to the spirit. And sometimes that goes through having a few traumatic experiences of breakthroughs, and big chunks of your life just disappearing like big icebergs falling into the sea. So basically, yeah, it's just following the destiny. I have been cultivating this relationship with the spirit of yoga and tantra for my whole life, and with something that connects with all the sources of spiritual energy. I feel comfortable in a mosque as much as in an Indian temple as much as right in nature. So for me, the motto that I have is my family is humankind, my home is the planet. It's a universal, it's embodying and connecting with everybody. It's not an elitist thing where we kick some people out of it. It's the path that I'm designing, the path of vital tantra, is something that brings everything and everybody together in one common energetic reality, which is being alive. That's why it's vital.
Vital. So, what's the difference between the Shiva before and the Shiva now?
There was a very core moment of change in my life, and this was around 2000, 2002, around the change of the millennium. And around that time, I really came to a place of realization where I felt the spirit was communicating with me the fact that I was done with my training. It was no longer about training. Now it was really entering into service for the planet and humankind. So there was a series of weeks or months where I was almost like praying and dedicating my life every day. And at that point, I realized that my consciousness was shifting from being based on my personal identity to being based on the universal identity. So I felt like I was transitioning to becoming a universal being. And I know those are big words, but it's like it's an internal experience, a feeling of identifying myself a little bit less with my personality, with my personal vehicle, and a little bit more with something that is universal. And that was coming together with entering into service for the planet and humankind. So the idea is just, is just to serve. The calling and the prayer was just take me where I need to be, guide me, honor me. I'm here to serve. My life is no longer about me. It's
Mm,
about a much deeper purpose.
like
And
to use
so when I
you.
started, yeah, and so when I started positioning myself from that place, it was a transitioning period that lasted for a few months, for a year, something like that, and then the shift kicked in, and since then I'm just following the flow, following truth and following whatever guidance is coming from within. Uh, None of what I do is for prestige or for personal gain. It's really like trying to contribute to the evolution of the planet in whatever way I can. And when it comes to connecting with women, or within the dating or sex or relationships, all that, there is a big need there to contribute. So very often this is where I'm guided, seeing women struggling with finding destiny and direction, and trying to help nature flow a little bit better in a direction that creates resonance, between the genders and within the feminine energy as well.
Yeah, and the topic today is so relevant, how to deeply bond with men. And I think this has been so disassociated with the real reason and the real, as I say, the real purpose of relationship, as women are more taught, like conditioned to be concentrating on whatever outer of themselves to connect with men rather than the inside, and it doesn't work. And
Yeah,
this is where your work and similar work comes into a place where we need more than just the looks to connect with men. And that's
of
a
course.
conditioning that's, yeah, we are unlearning. And I would love to hear more about you. Like, so you work with women who come to you with issues like this?
With men and both women couples, sometimes I welcome couples at my temple here, and just talking about the situations that they face, and then we try to unlock whatever qualities need to be unlocked so that the relationship becomes more complete and more giving more satisfaction to both persons. Yeah.
So what advice would you like to give to women listening? How do they get started into creating a conscious relationship?
So the first thing that comes to mind is really to realize how much power we have in designing conscious relationships that really work. Uh, you know, the thing that tends to happen in society is that we go through education, and we are being conditioned to be good in mathematics and in languages and all that stuff.
Oh my God.
And then suddenly you are like maybe 20, 22 years old, and then somebody comes and says, okay, if you are a woman, here is your boyfriend, have a relationship with him, make it work. And you go like, how do I do? I don't know how to touch him. I don't know how to relate to him. I don't know much about my sexual energy. I don't know much about communication. Every time we try to have a conversation, we start arguing. It's like, how do we do it? And
Yeah.
there is no clear system. Then you start researching, and then you start getting some books on personal development and on relationships. You might go to a seminar. You might start exploring. You might touch on tantra. But all that is like a discovery where the path is not really very well designed. And the
Mm.
reason why it's not designed is because it's not in the priorities of society to make
Yeah.
it work. You know, in the more ancient times, the religious background and certain traditions, the family traditions, would sustain a certain stream that would be relatively clear. Then you learn from your parents, and you just keep duplicating that. But nowadays, it's like we are bombarded and blasted by a need and an urgency to create perfection and to be at this with these very high degrees of expectations. So my belief right now is that you have new codes of relating that are being transferred and downloaded into human consciousness. So we can really tune into them and be like, okay, what are the qualities that we really need to create a very fulfilling relationship? And but the first thing to understand is that we are the designers now. It means that you as a woman, you meet this man and you go like, and I would be like, okay, give me like 10 qualities or 10 ingredients that you think are the core values that you need to anchor in the relationship. And you would be like, I need trust, I need honesty, I need clarity, I need good sex,
Mm.
I need fun. And then you will start designing those qualities, and you go like, okay, now we have a kind of architecture, like pillars of light, of energy that are anchoring themselves in you, in your lover or partner, and creating this conscious relationship vehicle. And it's beautiful because right now, from our place of conscious designers, we can really attract those qualities. It's like you go into a kitchen and you go like, what are the ingredients that I need to make this dish? Then you will be like, well, if I have too much of that, see, too much passion, but not enough clarity and not enough peace, then it's going to bring the balance out. It's going to be too fiery. It's going to be too explosive. What if there is lots of stability and lots of clarity, but not enough passion? Then you go like, well, I get a bit bored, I need a
Mm.
bit more fire, a bit more romance. So balancing all those qualities in the right way, it's what it takes after that. It's an art. It's not a rational thing. Of course, you know that you have certain colors or certain qualities that you want to bring, but then starting to cultivate and balancing them up in the right way. And so it requires to be much more present than what people have been in the past. Before, the relationships would be a little bit more unconscious, right? You would step into them and then you would start rolling. But nowadays, I have the feeling that the core thing is like you can really take a moment to pause and be like, wow, for instance, if you and I were relating, I look into your eyes and I go like, who is this woman? How can I position myself in your life to give you the most beautiful, powerful gift that you could ever receive from a man? And so if you start looking at that and be like, wow, so you start tuning into the qualities that you need. And so this is an intention. You see, it's very strong. It's a very powerful intention to want to honor the other person
Mm.
for depth and the beauty that they are. And so we can look at it from a personal development perspective, but then when we start bringing the tantra and we start bringing the divinity, and I look at you and I go like, you are Shakti, you are goddess incarnated, you are the voice of my spirit, you are, we start bringing the codes of very deep sacredness. That suddenly opens the channels to a completely different dimension, because suddenly it's no longer just you with who you are and the facts about your life, your bank account and your car and your job and your dreams and all that stuff. We go and we go like, now I'm really diving into the essence, deep, deep into your essence. And you see, I mean, we just started this conversation and it's already happening. We're already entering into a kind of trance, right?
Mm.
Into an hypnotic space where we feel the spirit is coming and saying, yes, I'm here for you guys. Shh. And it's just a practice, right?
Yeah.
something that we can activate. But suddenly there is like this deep, deep feeling of resonance. We go like, okay, let's breathe into that. Let's feel into what's really happening here. And I look into your eyes and I see the beauty. I see the color of your lips. I see the perfection of your skin. I look at your hair, and then I start looking deeper into transfiguration, into the emotional states, into maybe the longing, the smiles, into maybe the wounds or the hurts and the dreams and the things that you're really craving for into your life. I go like, wow, how can I help that? Now the deep bonding starts to happen.
Mm.
And we just, we just met like 6 months ago for a short period of time, for a
Yeah.
short moment.
Yeah.
We never shared any form of deep intimacy, but the moment, see, we can design it right there by an intention, by practicing these deep reverence muscles. And now what's happening is really the play of Shiva and Shakti
Mm.
coming together to this bonding, into this flow. You see, magic is starting to happen straight away.
Yeah.
That's fun.
That's yeah, and that's a very conscious way of looking into connecting with another person. It's just beyond just a mask, isn't it? Like you go beyond it.
Yes, exactly. And what's even more impressive is that right now you are in London and I'm in Bali, right?
Mm-hmm.
Two completely different parts of the planet. I don't have access to your physical body. I
Mm-hmm.
just have a video of you and your voice.
Mm-hmm.
And still, our spirits start to enter in deep resonance,
Mm. Yeah.
right? Something
Yeah.
is happening.
Yeah.
And you're like, how is that possible?
Mm-hmm.
And it's possible, it's because there is a spirit or there is a force, which is the spirit of the connection that we are creating. And that spirit incarnates itself and it's omnipresent. It's not located in one physical place. It's all over the planet. Angelic bodies, we can
Mm-hmm.
look at them as a human-like form, or we can look at them as energy fields, which are permeating the earth. And so that energy field is present in you right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's present in me. And that field is bonding, is creating a deep bonding between our energies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's happening, you
And
know?
I can feel your energy more and more as you speak.
Yeah.
This is amazing. I think one of the big problems that I have also come across while working with women is that the fear that they have in connecting, literally, like looking into the eyes of their partners, and there's a hesitation. What do you say about that? What do you recommend about that? A lot of people
Well,
are
the reason,
uncomfortable.
yeah, the reason why we are afraid of connecting or bonding like that is because we reveal each other, right? In the
Mm,
moment we enter into the space of deep intimacy, because the energetic intimacy means that we open channels in us that are extremely vulnerable. It's like right now, from the place where you are, whether it's for a man or for a woman, but imagine that me from where I am, you are opening a space inside of you which is super sweet, and your beauty and your inner core, your heart is just starting to radiate and
mm,
slowly open up. But from that place, if I lose presence and I do something that is, unexpected or nasty, or I say something that is really bad, my arrow or my attack would touch you in a very deep core. So we are used in society to have to defend ourselves
mm,
all the time. It's not safe. It's not usually safe to open up. So the moment we test the waters, because you already saw me before, you know that you can trust me, and I know that I can trust you.
mm,
And then dive into that. We know that we are in the spirit of love, in the space of beauty and joy and harmony. So we start diving into that space. So there is a certain degree of safety, and it's also a training. It's almost like, imagine that you are flying in an airplane and then somebody gives you a parachute and say, okay, jump. It's like, it's
no.
it's it's scary. It's like you have to jump out of the cliff, and in taking that dive, you are taking a big risk.
Mm.
because then you enter into a different dimension. We enter into the dimension of energetics, and right now we are no longer looking at the facts. Like I still see you, but we are entering into a dimension which becomes the dimension of energetics. Is two energy beings,
Mm-hmm.
coming in resonance together. And so the facts about your past or your life, the details about your childhood, all this is not really present right now. What is happening is a deep energetic, uh, energetic bonding, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we can imagine that we would practice that every day. Then we start diving deeper into that. So yeah, it's a huge
So
potential.
yeah. So let's say that if someone wants to create, let's say I'm a woman and I want to create this deep bonding with my partner, and I want to practice these things, but they are not ready. And this is one of the very common questions that I get.
Yeah.
So what do you recommend then?
Well, I think that the moment you are really ready yourself, like really, really ready, uh, you see, this practice is not something that you have to do with a lover. You can do it with anybody. You can
Mm,
be present and look into a child's eyes. You can, and then the reason why we dive into it straight away is because that energy is so anchored in my system that as soon as I see you, it's like my eyes just are drawn into your energy, and it happens naturally because it's a muscle that I have been training a lot in my system. So if you, as a woman, and for the women who are listening, if that energy of truth and authenticity and connection with yourself is really anchored in yourself, the man cannot resist. It's
mm,
impossible for man to resist. He's going to be taken by that flow of energy and by that flow of love, and suddenly you will see him opening up and melting and being like, okay, wow, I have to surrender to that. Okay, there is no choice. It's like it's unstoppable. It's
mm,
unstoppable because the flow of the spirit is like a river that connects the hearts. So if your heart chakra is blossoming, right, you are like in the anahataya field, shivaya, shaktiya, anahataya. The heart is blossoming. Then it's overwhelming. People who come into your field, they will feel the love. And especially if it's a man who comes into your field with a combination of sexual energies and the attraction and the beauty and the romantic energy and plus all that opening, and the man is going to be overwhelmed. He will be like, wow, what's happening? Are you hypnotizing me? And the truth is that yes, you're putting each other in a trance. And so my advice is that don't look at the limiting factors, because there are none. There is no excuse. At the moment your Shakti power or your spirit is super anchored and strong inside of you, you don't have to wait for a man to do that. If you
mm,
want to dance tango and there's nobody to dance with, just dance by yourself.
mm,
Play that dance until you realize, oh, wow, the spirit of tango is alive inside of me. I don't necessarily need a partner. I can tap into the passion, into the fire of that energy by myself. The same with your sexual energy, the same with the tantric resonance. You go like, wow, I don't have a tantric partner to practice with. It doesn't matter. You don't need one. I have been here by myself like for probably 3-4 months. I'm full tantric fire. I don't need a physical presence to activate my tantric fire. I play with my inner Shakti. And the same for any woman who will be watching this. You can tap into that energy by yourself. You anchor it, then you start practicing with everybody, anybody around you, and then you realize once these muscles are open inside of you, once they are activated, then people are getting into that space naturally.
mm. This is a very good exercise. I think everyone watching should take away to just practice with this eye contact with people around, even to soften
Sure.
and see beyond. Because I think this is the cause of disconnection in our busy society among ourselves. We just are fighting and grinding against each other rather than just seeing that
Exactly.
everyone is in the struggle together. Everyone is struggling after all.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that everybody's craving for that. We are all craving for that deep degree of connection.
Yeah.
And it's not weak. It's in this what we are doing here is it's powerful, it's mind shifting, it's expansive, it's fun, it's edgy. Because right now, we connect in a space like this one, and we connect from in the spirit of love and bonding and respect. But what if we start engaging shadows? Suddenly, instead of you showing me your Shakti, you show me your Kali. And then I go like, wow, I'm still going to be bonding with that aspect of the goddess, and still receiving in my field with things that might be more challenging inside of you. Like right now, I see the light, right? I see, wow, I see the beauty, and I see all the things
Yeah,
that are
it's a
really
good
easy and
moment.
beautiful. But then suddenly imagine that we live together, we go on holidays for a month somewhere on the beach, and then suddenly I go like, wow, what's going on inside
Yes,
this woman?
I've
Suddenly
had
you
enough.
are aggressive, you know, you are aggressive, and then suddenly I realize there is all these shadows. Well, my job as a man is to be able to look at these shadows and be like, wow, this is what completes you. Now that we are diving into the sphere of your shadows, and I'm witnessing the things that you might not be proud of, that maybe look like, wow, I hope he's not going to run away when he sees that part of me. I go like, no, I'm not running away, because my love is not limited to just loving your lights. It's loving the lights and the shadows. It's a complete thing. So once we start diving into these shadows together and we keep bonding in that place, suddenly the love just like expands,
Mm.
blast completely different dimensions, because it's easy to love things that we like, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when somebody comes and challenges, with something that we don't expect, we go like, oh, wow, now you are possessive, or you're jealous, or you're angry, or you are inconsistent, or you're manipulative, or, and women who go like, you listen to this and you go like, the message that I have for you is like, you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be just pure light. The fact that the fact that there is shadow in your field is a source of energy and sexiness and attraction that men crave for. Sometimes they cannot stand it, or they don't know how to navigate it. But the idea is that these are the kind of things that where we need to expand as well. It's pointless to try to imagine that the person that you are dating or relating to is going to be perfect. No, they're going to do big mistakes. They're going to sometimes do things that are hurtful or be out of integrity with things like that. And being able to stay present and be like, wow, you are coming into my field as a shadow trainer. See, suddenly it shifts. Suddenly, instead of being the light trainer, the person who brings me love and light and beauty and all that, you go like, no, now you are bringing me in touch with a deeper part of myself. It's a bit scary. It's like going deep into the forest and witnessing the tigers.
Mm.
Uh, and you go like, wow, I'm facing the dragons, I'm facing the tigers and the snakes and those more dangerous aspects of our being.
It's a
Am I
zoo.
losing it? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. And no wonder that, we all strive for perfection because we don't want to be seen in our imperfection because we fear that we won't be accepted. And that's where
Exactly.
the battle begins between couples, especially energetically as well, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
So, Shiva, would you like to share with us some of your practices that you do on a daily basis that has, created your vitality, I should say?
Yes, of course. Um, the way I do my day, it's a bit like in a monastic way because I have lots of practice and things that I do. Of course, there is space also for relationships and connections. It means that I lead an active sexual life. I'm not abstracting myself. So as a tantrika, the goal is I would call that energetic or life mastery, like mastering the different aspects of your life. To simplify, there is sex, body, mind, money, and spirit. So it's 5 branches. But in the sex, it's not just sex. It's relationships, it's social life, it's family life. It's a much vaster thing. But just to simplify, call it like that. So you've got uh, sex, body, mind, money,
Money.
and spirit. And spirit means relationship to the invisible. It means how do you relate to the planet? How do you relate to your destiny line? How do you work with the force of the invisible? Money means career, your contribution to the planet and humankind as well. See, So when I wake up in the morning, what I try to activate is reconnect with my own core. So cultivating body and cultivating the mind. And to do that, I will use mantras. I will be in singing mantras like through 5-minute sequences. And for instance, have an hour of practice. I will be shaking. I will be breathing dynamic breath. I will be, doing some mantras and then some practices that are a bit more physical. Sometimes it's like self-exploration, like massaging different parts of my body as well. There are some sexual practices as well that I bring into the picture, where it's possible to activate your sexual fire as well, to keep that in alignment and fresh. Energetic emotional release. One of the core practices, for instance, it's really fire breath. Fire breath goes. So when you do that, like for 5 minutes, it's like just create space and energetic and emotional release in your system. So there is a lot of that. There is a very big awareness to nutrition as well. You see, I'm drinking these very powerful liquids. I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke. I don't do any form of substances, including medicine. No coffee.
No
Yeah,
meat.
and mainly raw food, mainly. And another thing that I do that is very important, cold showers. I go into contact with nature every day. Like there are some rivers nearby. I always go and jump into the create connection with the energy of Bali. So
Yeah.
having a strong resonance with nature is very important. Cultivating healthy, positive, beautiful relationships with people around me. Uh, right now, as soon as I see drama exploding somewhere, usually I tend to be like, not interested. So I remove myself, whether it's drama happening directly in connection that I might have, or connections that I might have with some friends who are in drama zone for some reason. Right now, I'm just cultivating beauty and harmony a lot. That's what my system is craving for. Like, I'm not really too interested right now in diving into that. So I put certain boundaries, there. Like, I'm just engaging my time and energy into it. But there might be other periods where I go like, okay, let's go and dive into the shadows a little bit. But it's a conscious, conscious choice. Yeah, something else that keeps me high is just to focus my day on things that are really exciting. Yeah.
Sure. I think you brought a very interesting word, boundaries. Would you like to say something about it for the women watching? Because I think that's so crucial.
Yeah, I know it's a very powerful topic, right?
Yeah. I
So,
could, I remember, I could share one experience when I was in Bali and we were in a ritual and we were doing something around boundaries. And it was this moment that I actually passed out. We were standing and practicing with a partner and I just felt like, I just couldn't contain what was going on. And all those flashes came back to me that I was
wow.
always seeking boundary outside of myself, that this person's this boundary, that person's that boundary, and like I was not applying the boundary internally, you know what I mean? I was already
Yes.
always projecting it outside rather than pulling it inside. So
Mm.
yeah.
So you fainted.
Yeah, I passed out, and yeah, I remember that Sophia coming to me and like, "Are you okay? What's happening to you?" Like, because you passed out so elegantly, right on a cushion. Like I just felt head bang on a cushion.
I heard about that.
Yeah, it was me.
I didn't know it was true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So, yeah, boundaries. Like, give me maybe a more specific question
Yeah.
rather than just like,
So let's stick with our topic about bonding and stuff. So where does a person, a woman, let's say, create her boundary in like not looking like she's needing something from a relationship? So the boundary between the neediness and the receiving or the attraction. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure if I understand you that one.
Okay, so let
So,
me try to
like,
reframe.
give me a specific situation that you might be facing that where you feel you need clarification on boundaries, for instance.
So let's say that I want to deepen my bonding with this person, and I am cultivating these practices, and there comes sometimes like the ego kicks in, and then there is this
Yes,
need that I feel that I am doing this, so I feel the need that it should happen because I am working on it. However,
yes,
I may start projecting my neediness, and like I may forget my boundaries around how to keep my energy within myself in this practice. So does it require
yeah,
a boundary? Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So the in that case, it's like what you're saying is that you might be projecting a certain energy that might be a turn off, right, in the form
Yeah.
of neediness, something
Mm-hmm.
like that. So how to keep that within your field, within your system, instead of projecting that?
Yeah.
Um, well, that's precisely, it's the mastery of the inner game. It means that you have certain qualities that you are going to be radiating out and projecting into the field of the relationship, or into the field of the connection, and having a certain awareness of how you navigate it. For instance, when it comes, there is a good example, for instance, with sexual energy, right? Like, there is a certain degree, like your sexual energy can be at 0% or 100%, like super high, right? So
Mm-hmm.
depending on where it is, men are going to respond to you in different ways. And sometimes a man might be at a level of sexual energy which is like 50%. And if you come up with 100%, it's going to burn the pipes. It's going to be too intense. And if you are at 30% and he's at 80%, you're not going to match either, because there is going to be a mismatch, right? He might be super turned on, super horny, and you're not, and then it's a mismatch. And then this guy comes back from work, he's really tired, he just wants to rest and watch TV or something, and you are really turned on, right? And then there is a mismatch again. So the idea of being able to modulate that flow inside of you, this is what is super important. The degree of emotions and the power, the presence, how much excitement, how much sexual energy, how much drama you cultivate, or how much peace and harmony you cultivate. So very often we feel like we are victims of our own dynamics.
Mm.
It's like we are just taken over by emotions that we don't control. This is called being enslaved by our emotions. It's
Pretty
like, who is
much.
in charge? Okay, who is in charge? It's like, if you go like, my emotions are in charge of my destiny, you go like, wow, then you're in trouble.
No.
because there is something, there is a higher spirit. Your personal vehicle needs to be in service to something which is much vaster than that. So for instance, if you meet a man, and that man is like perfect match, and then there is an overflow of emotions and things that you start doing that are completely out of control, that are going to push him away. He goes like, you know what, I'm out of here, I cannot deal with this, it's too much. It's like there is something there. So being able to play with your energies and manipulate who you are. And I know this is a very tricky and sensitive topic, because it conflicts with the idea of being true to yourself, right? Sometimes when people say, well, how do you increase your dating skills? How do you become somebody who is more powerful and experienced with dating? And you go like, well, just be yourself. This is the typical advice. Just be yourself and just do it. You go like, oh yeah, right. No, I mean, it's nice to just be yourself, but you can, for instance, the the way you are right now, right? You put some makeup on. You took time to position yourself in a place that is going to create a certain impact in the people around you. So it's carefully crafted, right? And so the fact that it's consciously designed, it's like putting yourself within a certain space. See, I've got marks on my forehead, I've got necklaces, I've got a turban. I'm prepared as if I was going for war, okay? Or for a tantric date. But the point is this: it is that we can consciously design who we are and how we position ourselves. And that conscious design of our minds, again, this conflicts with a lot of pop culture and beliefs that we have, because for lots of people they will be like, life should just happen,
Mm,
love
no.
not something that you can design. It's either you have chemistry or you don't have chemistry. And I go like, that's not true at all. You can design chemistry. You can design attraction. You can, if you feel like you're in a place that is not creating the results that you want from life, you can shift certain core aspects of your being. Like for instance, a couple of years back, I was trying to do things and I was way too rigid. People were like freaking out. They were like, why are you doing that to us? And I was like, this is just the way it is, Swiss mind, European mind, no, no, no. And then I started getting the feedback just like that. It kept, uh, coming back into my field was like flexibility. Just be flexible. Just let it go. Be flexible. Be a bit more fluent, And then I started integrating that, made everybody happy, and it made me more happy. So what I did is consciously design my mind from a place of, instead of being true to my rigidity, which was my truth at that moment, I said, well, I'm going to start shifting my truth and becoming a little bit more flexible. And guess what? It makes me happier. So it allows you to flow with something a little bit different. So for instance, where to come back to your original question, neediness, right? You go like, well, if you're expressing something that appears as neediness, the neediness is not just something that happens there. It comes from places, from a certain conditioning, from certain fear of abandonment, So there's a whole lot of things there. So if you don't want to feel needy, what is the opposite quality that you can start cultivating in your life, which is trust in yourself, confidence, personal power. There is lots of qualities there. So for instance, I've seen women completely shifting in their positions in life, in the way they position themselves, by going and doing some Taibo or kickboxing, right? I see this woman right at the kickboxing lesson. The first time she's like, shy and hiding. And by the end, she's like this powerhouse of trust and confidence.
Yeah.
So it's a muscle that you train. And so, replace neediness by inner trust or self-esteem or self-love. It's a very powerful thing. And you can evolve. You can go from a place where you might be completely needy 1 year, and 1 year later, you're there in your power. You have men coming in rivers of masculine energy towards you, because you're generating this flow of attraction and presence that magnetizes the masculine energy. And so if you want to make yourself more attractive, it's very simple. Just remove or replace the elements that are non-attractive. And you say, can you do that? Isn't this like lying to yourself or not being true or not being authentic? No, it's like the shirt or the dress that you decide to put on in the morning. It's it's a setup. It's a game that we play, no matter what. And if you go like, wow, my conditioning, I am right now the result of my 10 years of conditioning or 20 years of conditioning in my relationship. No, you're not your conditioning. Your conditioning is just a shirt that you accepted to put on. Like, for instance, the quality precisely of neediness, you go like, do you need it? No, drop it. Shift to something else. Are you betraying yourself by doing that? No. Who are you? Are you your neediness? No, you're not your neediness. You are the complete unlimited spirit with all unlimited possibilities. You want to be truth and power and presence right now, today. You can decide. You can decide, this is what I want to be. And if you feel like, I want to be needy, that's fine as well. It's not trying to tell you what's right or wrong. What I'm telling you is that you can make a conscious decision and just choice about who you want to be and what are the qualities that you want to bring in your relationships, in your life. It's a conscious choice. It's a conscious design.
And we all have a choice.
Exactly. So for instance, if you went to this retreat, right, with Sophia, and then you went there, you cultivated certain qualities that were enhanced in the process of the training that you went through.
Yeah.
Right? So were those qualities already alive as a potential before? Yes. The reason why they become more present in your life is because you cultivate them, and you activate, and you consciously train them.
Yeah.
and you create space and energetic freedom around them so that they become more present in your life.
Absolutely.
So are you betraying who you were before? No, you're just saying, well, I like that person and I can see that I can grow and expand if I
Yeah.
cultivate a little bit more of these
And this is what
qualities.
I choose to be now in this moment. Yeah. Yes, absolutely amazing. Thank
Exactly.
you so much, Shiva, for your time. It's been so amazing having this conversation and touching all these dynamics of all the energetics and spirituality and consciousness and your energy flowing through. So thank you so much for your offering, your
Yeah,
time. So one line or so, if you
yes,
can
you're
answer
welcome.
this question. I've been asking this to every single guide in this online temple. If you can answer in a line or so, what does rising feminine mean to you?
Say that again.
What does rising feminine mean to you?
Wow.
I know it's a big thing, but yeah.
It's the manifestation of the new codes for female consciousness. It's the awakening of a new plan. It's what comes to mind.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful way of closing the call.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I will be providing links to Shiva's website below the video so you can go and check out his work and all his amazing videos around all different topics. So thank you, Shiva, one more time for being here and your
Yeah.
offering your time. Thank you.